I'm here with Erica, and we have been planning to do a PD together. She had a goal this year of working on mindfulness with her students. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about the goal.
The goal was to have students to be able to recognize their own physical sensations when they're starting to get worked up, and to be able to figure out independently how to calm themselves down when they come into a situation where it's frustrating or upsetting. And so basically, I just wanted them to be able to independently calm themselves down. So that's.
And we've done a couple times. We've collected data on it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like it's been working?
I feel like it's definitely been like a journey. I feel like there were things that I thought I was doing the right way, but then I had to go back and I had to reevaluate what I was doing or what I was collecting, because I guess there are a lot of parts to mindfulness, and especially like bringing that down to like a child's level, like a 5-year-old, like how that was kind of what I was struggling with, and how to keep all the parts of mindfulness, but also focus on my goal of getting themselves to calm down. So it's just been figuring out how to focus on that.
Why are you passionate about this?
Why am I?
Yeah.
Just because I want kids to be, I want them to feel good about themselves. I want them to go through life having these skills, and to not to be in the moment, to learn how to be in the moment, and to continue that for the rest of their lives. So that's something that they have going through the rest of their lives. I just want the best for them, and I want them to be happy, like socially, emotionally, like those kinds of things. So that's kind of like what my whole goal was.
I love it. Well, and I know I kind of pushed you towards adding an academic avenue to it as well.
Yeah.
Because they were already visualizing. So you were asking them to visualize, and then we made that connection to text. And so I know we've got some images and so forth for that, but that brings us up to where we are today, which is planning. Looks like you've got a great presentation ready for Tuesday's PD. So go ahead. You've already kind of shared several of the slides. Go ahead and finish telling me what's going on.
Sure. Okay. We just talked about playful breathing, how they're exploring their breath, because that is a huge component of getting to calm themselves down, is that they are noticing their physical sensations, like if their heart is racing, like what they can do when they say, oh, my heart's racing, how can I calm myself down? So we talked about playful breath, and now we're talking about breathing techniques that they can use. And I was just talking about how they have to notice their physical sensations, and then not only do they have to notice how they're feeling, the teacher has to notice how they're feeling, so that you're both not feeding off on each other. And so, like, you have to notice their triggers and how, like, what they are doing. For example, one of my little students, I know that her voice changes when she starts to get in that, like, down that road. And so I have to think to myself, okay, like, how am I feeling? And another part of, like, noticing how I am feeling and what's going on, I have to go in and think about, like, how to be calm under pressure. And I have 3 secrets from a bomb disposal expert that I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how to avoid the rabbit hole, all the what ifs. Like, you can't go down that what ifs. You just have to focus on, like, what you've done in the past. And another part is to emphasize the positive and focus on what you can control, and thinking about the next step, like what is the next thing that you can do. I thought they were really helpful little secrets. Absolutely. That just things to think about, like when you're in that moment, like, okay, now what is my next step to help Anaya? Like, what's the next thing that I can do? Instead of thinking about, like, oh, like, what if she does this and she explodes? I'm in the moment with her, like, what can I do next? Right. Kind of thing.
Well, and I love what you told me before we started taping. It's when you had said that you were doing a lot of modeling with the student when you first are teaching them how to do this, and you said it was kind of helpful for you to work on your own personal feelings during that, because we are human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where you can't, like, you're reacting. You're not, yeah, you're just react. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because then you kind of get in that fight or flight mode too when stuff like that happens. So that's why you have to recognize your own sensations and come up with your own strategies. So I just, to me, the bomb disposal strategies I thought were, oh, that's kind of interesting, and I never thought about it that way before. So that's something that I wanted to share. And then implementing the breathing techniques, I just was going to talk about like how I started modeling, how I did it with the whole class, like we did it all together. And then when I figured out who needed it more, that's when I individually modeled it more and more, because the other kids could independently do it. And then I also use manipulatives, the cubes. Like each time you do it, like you move up the cube, and then like when you're done, you put the cubes back, so that they know like, okay, I did it this time and this time and this, just to get them through that, to get them.
Do you have some images that we could put of the kids with the cubes on that?
Yeah.
Or is that something maybe like for hands-on during the PD, like the teachers practice it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I could put pictures in. I could have cubes that they could try it too, because that was the other thing I was going to show them, that because the one breathing technique that I use, it stimulates the vagus nerve, I guess, that is all connected to the parasympathetic system and all that science, all that sciencey stuff, right? And when you're holding your breath, like it activates that, and it just naturally calms you down. Because the book had other different breathing techniques, but that's one that I definitely go back to because it's been the most effective in getting them to calm down. And sometimes they do the cubes, like they'll go through the 5, because I have 5 out, but they'll go through them. They're still not quite done yet, and so they have to go back and do them again, because sometimes they try to rush through it. So I just have to go, like, okay, like, try it again.
Just like any academics. Rush through it, go back and do it. Awesome. Okay. All right. So our participants are going to be practicing with that. So what's next?
Then I was going to offer another one from the book that they have, and I haven't figured out which one I want to do yet. So I was going to put that in there. We were going to do it together. And then the mindfulness exercise, basically it's giving students time to, it's not in the heat of the moment. It's something that you do not in the heat of the moment. It just gives them a chance to like decompress. Like we do our mindfulness exercises after recess, because recess is a little crazy. There's a lot of things going on outside. So they come back and they kind of decompress from running around and being really active.
That's a social time for them too, and I think that's where yesterday we witnessed a social situation that got out of hand, and your old friend was very, very upset.
Yeah. And
you said you got that on video, that she calmed herself down.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even tell her to go to the desk. Like, she went there by herself. So yeah.
She knew that the dean was coming.
Yeah.
Which can sometimes escalate behavior, but she went to the desk.
Yep.
And then what? What did you see?
I saw her taking the cubes, and because part of the exercise, you put your hand on your tummy and the other hand is up, counting how long you're holding your breath. And she was taking each cube, and each time she was able to count to 5 holding her breath, and then exhaling that breath. Yeah.
And she was one of your target kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is truly helping. That's awesome. Because like I said, I witnessed it.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, she outside the recess door when she didn't want to come in, and then she calmly walked in and went just straight to the desk.
And she's 5? Yeah. It was great. So you're going to be able to show that video to our participants.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's another part that I'm going to show too. And then this, for example, in my room, I was going to show the video that we taped yesterday of all the kids laying on the ground and having the visualization after. And then this is just my last kind of closure. Yeah. Most importantly, mindfulness is a lifestyle change. It's kind of like starting a new diet. You got to stay committed to it. Like you can't. No, it's still going. The timer's still going.
No, you know what? I think it is recording. Okay, sorry. Oh, yeah, we're good. Sorry.
I keep leaning away from it. You might need to lean closer. It's like something that we do every day in the classroom. Because sometimes I feel like I don't have time for this and I don't want to do it, but I have to be committed to it so that the students are still practicing it every day, so it becomes like a habit for them. If you want your students to be more mindful, this is something you must practice every day. And then transitions, like coming in from recess to the classroom, like that's a transition for us, and that's a good time for us to do it. So.
Okay, so if we think about the PD itself, okay, this is going to be a voluntary choice. What can I do for you to help get you prepared for the night?
Because basically you're helping me right now, like organizing all my thoughts and how it's going to flow. Because I was going to have it on the smartboard or project it on the smartboard, all the slides, and have everybody sit at the tables to give them room for when we do the exercises and so they can see the videos. I mean, I can do like a kind of a rehearsal with you the night before to go through everything and time it to see. Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's think about the presentation itself. So you've got a hook, some type of a hook to grab your audience. You'll probably want to put in a slide just like objectives, like let them know like what it is that you're hoping they'll walk away with today.
Okay.
So if you think about that, what is it that you would, just like when you do a lesson, what is it that you would like these people to know and be able to do when they walk out of your PD on Tuesday? What would you like them to know?
More about mindfulness, which is me talking about it in the beginning. Some like playful breathing exercises, because we're gonna do one exercise. I was gonna make a handout as well to give the book. I was gonna make copies of different exercises to give them some exercises to start with. So they're gonna walk away with those. They're gonna walk away with how to be more knowledgeable about de-escalating students in the heat of the moment, because that's basically like what the focus is for the whole presentation.
Perfect. Okay. So we can put in those objectives, and so you've got some handouts so that they can. It's something that they could do right away.
Yes.
And so then, if you think about the end of the PD, go back and say to yourself, okay, did my PD objectives? Did my PD meet the objectives that I have set?
Okay.
And so when you go all the way through, you're like, okay, did they learn something new about mindfulness? Can they take this mindfulness back?
Right, because I want them to be able to apply it to their classroom right away, or at least try, like whole group. Okay, let's try all of this together, because that's literally what I did. Is everything that we did, especially at the beginning, it was all whole group until I figured out who needed what. So, because it's just, I don't know, they're good techniques for everybody. Everybody can learn those skills. So.
Something we might want to think about is some type of a closure to get some either feedback or like maybe a parking lot for extra questions. Okay. Because people might be like, a ton of questions for you. Maybe we could put some sticky notes out that they could put those up on a parking lot. Okay. I could create that for you. Okay. I'll do that. All right. Okay. So why don't let me check my calendar for Monday. Set that up. We'll just kind of set up a time where we can kind of just run through it real quickly. Okay. Will that work? Yeah. All right. I'm going to shut our screencast off and look at the calendar.